welcome to a crazy, rig sort of feature showcase. Honestly, this was one of the things about Slick's resume that really popped out at me, because he actually put this on his resume. He was like, I have a computer that's oil cooled. And I was like, okay, I guess. And so I had to talk to this guy, of course, right? Because who puts that on a resume? I was like, I really hope this is a custom resume. I hope you don't apply for a job at a car dealership and you're like, yeah, I have an oil-cooled computer, because they'd be like, okay, oil is for cars and stuff. No, we're not talking motor oil, we're talking mineral oil. So this is Slick's oil-cooled machine, which is actually still running after all this time. So this is back when a 780i, a QX6700, 8 gigs of Corsair Dominator, what the heck is this stuff? 8500 memory, so this is, somehow, he managed on a 780i board to get 4 DIMMs working by some freaking miracle. Is the thing overclocked too? A little bit? Yeah, a little bit, exactly, because that's not an easy feat, I can tell you guys that much. GeForce GTX 260, you can see the DDC or DDC Plus, I don't know what it is. It's some kind of pump going on in there. You can also see he's got, seriously, this thing is old school but legit hardware. Check this out. HX620 modular power supply with all of the casing stripped off, so even the fan is gone. However, you can see from the tubing coming in here that he's got the fresh coolant coming in near the power supply, so I think he recognizes that the power supply would be one of the more disastrous things to go wrong in a mineral oil cooled computer. So one of the questions that a lot of people have about oil cooling is, why does this work and not water? Because you always hear people say, well, deionized water is non-conductive, and it is. But the difference is that deionized water is also very aggressive in picking up ions from metal that is placed in it. So whether it's an aluminum heatsink or whether it's a copper exposed portion of a PCB or whatever else the case may be, that distilled or deionized water is going to pick up ions like that, and it'll probably short out within about 10 or 15 minutes. Whereas mineral oil is much more inert and is much easier to have running on a long-term basis. So this has been running pretty much non-stop, other than an incident where there was some kind of a party at the dorm that he was staying in and someone broke the bottom of it or something along those lines that had to be refilled. Other than that, it's been running pretty much non-stop all this time. Now, if he had a bigger reservoir, he could probably run it without an external radiator, but due to the fact that he's using a fairly compact case, if you guys come here and look at it from the top, you can see it's only about an ATX mini tower size case. It's actually probably even smaller than that. This is more like an MATX case, because the power supply, instead of being mounted here or on the bottom, is actually just ghetto mounted near the memory. Most cases are not designed this way. So what he's done is he's used a quadruple, so it's a 4x120 millimeter ghetto sauce radiator, although it is a thick radiator, so in terms of performance it's going to be darn close to something like a thermochill quadruple radiator. He's got 3/8" tubing, which by the way is very stiff. The mineral oil has some interesting effects on your hardware, including stiffening up cables. That it creeps its way up, so it'll stiffen cables, stiffen tubing, and it can be a bit of a challenge that way. Now, if only solid-state drives had been feasible at the time that he built this machine, he probably wouldn't have to have a mechanical drive here, but you can actually see there's a mechanical hard drive right there hiding under this lip, because mechanical hard drives are one of the few components, along with optical drives. You can see he uses an external optical drive. Do not sell before. Are you kidding me? Are one of the few components that cannot run in mineral oil due to the fact that they would just die instantly. So yeah, the oil inside the hard drive would be really bad for the 7200 RPM spinning platters. They would slow down a lot, which is bad. So anyway, so he went with a hard drive. An SSD, however, could run inside here just fine. Now, speaking of things slowing down in the mineral oil, you can see that it is still sort of fan cooled in spite of the fact that there's mineral oil going on inside here. These fans have slowed down. However, due to the properties of the mineral oil, they actually are not damaged by this. I mean, they're running in lubricant, so it's not the end of the world to have them running submerged like this. I'm just trying to see if I've missed anything. The decorative plant is fantastic, of course, and so is his. He actually doesn't own a single cougar thing, as far as I can tell. I mean, maybe the girl he's dating, gave him this. What else does he have that's not ghetto? I mean, that's a cool machine, like a few years ago. But, okay, yeah, he loves this keyboard. This is a mechanical keyboard. It's a Ducky. He put, like, custom keycaps on it. He's kind of a geek, That's sort of par for the course when it comes to working in this business. I think that's pretty much it as far as Slick's liquid-cooled machine. Liquid-cooled, see, I kept falling into habits here. Oil-cooled machine, so I hope you guys enjoyed me sharing this with you. And don't forget to subscribe to Linus Tech Tips for more unboxings, reviews, and other computer videos, although I cannot promise that I'll be doing ones like this very often. And for those of you who are inevitably going to post, do an oil-cooled machine build guide. No. Not gonna happen. It's way too much work, and the hardware is pretty much foobar by the end of it, because he said to dry something, to drip dry one of these components out, is gonna take a matter of weeks. We're not talking days, we're not talking like, dust it off. We're talking like by the time you can actually use this in an air-cooled environment and not have it just be disgusting and get oil all over everything, we're talking weeks. So anyway, cool machine, Slick. I don't think when he upgrades this to something modern, he's probably going to stick with the oil config. He says no. But it was fun while it lasted, and it was definitely an interesting item on the resume. Don't forget to subscribe.